Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you for asking. So my name is Amarjit. I am having 7+ years of experience. Currently, I'm working as a Java development. So the technology which I used, like a Java with a Spring Boot microservices.
One second, Amajit. Sorry for interrupting you. Can you please turn on your camera?
Sure, sir. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I can see you now.
Yeah. So the technology which I have experience in Java with the Spring Boot microservices as a backend, a Spring Cloud component as a backend, front end some of the exposures in Angular 9. Also I have good experience in AWS Cloud Services and database which I have like Mongo and Oracle, uh, coming for this DevOps. I have good experience in DevOps also. Like while we are developing applications, we need to some of the devs tools which need to be monitor and developing application like Apache, Maven, Jenkins, Jira, GitHub, ELK, Splunk and all. So these all are the technology stack which I have. Coming for the domain, I have good experience in banking, telecom, e-commerce and health insurance. So the current project which I am working, that is based on the health insurance project. So here I am doing customization as well as implementation based on the client requirement. So the health insurance project is nothing but a portal where we are providing a custom.
No, no. Yeah, that's fine. Um, in which company are you currently working?
Currently I'm working for the Cinecron.
Sorry,
Cinecron
Cinicron. Okay. Uh, it's in Noida,
in Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay. Fine. Amajit, we can start the technical discussion. Uh, yeah. So, what is functional interface?
Functional interface is an interface which will be provided at least single abstract method will be there, and we can add in default and a static method inside that. That is called functional interface. So that you can create a interface, and in that you need to annotate with that functional interface. So that Java features has been enabled.
Mm-hmm.
Functional interface.
Uh, can you give me a few examples of built-in functional interfaces?
Yeah, we have already built in some of the functional interfaces, clonables, realizables, and all are the functional interface.
Okay. What is the difference between runnable and callable?
Runnable is used for this to run the method thread class. So while we are creating a thread, so in that cases we have a runnable as an interface which will have a run method which will be run, and callable is used for this to call this. Callable is also interface. It is used for the call method, so that is used for the executor. So while we are using executor frameworks, in that cases we use callable. So callable will work as an executor and thread also. So this is the main difference of runnable and callable.
So the only difference is that you cannot use runnable in executor and you can use callable in executor.
Apart from this, we have other difference also will be there. The main difference is runnable will use for the thread and callable use for the executor framework and runnables also.
Uh, okay, how can you use callable in executor framework? If you can, give me one practical example where you can use the executor service.
Okay. Callable, if we have a multiple threads are there which will be as a asynchronous communications, and in that we need to execute particular thread and priority. So that cases will have a call method will be there. Through that call we can execute a thing. Callable I'm not sure right now because I haven't used callable.
Have you used executor service?
No.
Okay, that's fine. What is optional?
Optional is used for this to handle the null pointer or empty in Java 8. So optional we'll have a multiple method which will be handle null pointer exception and empty if the data, if you are inserting or someone is coming from insert empty data, then by using optional automatically that will be taken care. So there is no null pointer and exceptions will be happen through the optional.
So, what is the method that you can use on optional to check
Yeah,
if?
optional dot is nullable is there, null and empty is empty. So these all are the methods are there.
Okay. Suppose you have a list of names. Uh, names are string,
Mhm.
and you have to filter out the names starting with the character C. So how can you achieve it?
Name as a string and you start with the character as a C.
Mm,
So yeah, so in a string we'll have a start with is there, start with the method is there, or yeah, start with is there. First you have a string that, and after that we will have a string s equal to, so s dot start with characters which we have a mention, so that will be called.
mm, okay. What is the difference between map and flat map?
Map is used for is used for the single employee entity, employee classes, employee attribute. So flat map is used for the list of employee attribute. Like suppose if you are processing the data by using a stream API, so that employee which you want to process, so particular employee details you want to fetch, in that cases we can go for map. And flat map is list of employee, like all the employee records you want to fetch based on the scenario. So in that cases we'll go for list of employee details, in that then we'll go for flat map.
Okay. What is predicate?
Predicate is used for as a of ops functional, these all are the functions which is available in Java 8 while we are using for this stream API. So predicate will have only one out input will be there, so that will be input will check a condition either true or false, so that will be returned either true or false to check the conditions
Okay. Uh, what are the steps to create a RESTful web service?
While we are using to create a RESTful web services, first of all create a entity classes like DTO classes, so that will have like what are the attributes you have, ID, name, salary, department and all. For that you will create a setter, getter, to strings and all, or use Lambda. And after that create a controller class, so that controller class will be annotated with the controller, and then in that we'll have a request mapping, so that request mapping will have a http get method, like get method, put method, post method, delete method will be there. And inside that you can mention request param, path, variables and all, whatever the annotations you want. And yeah, and after that will be create on service repository and all, so based on that we will fetch the data or get the data and all, that will be communicated with the database. If you want some validation and exceptions, that will be create a util classes, in that util class will be called in the controller, so that we will validate any scenario if required. And also while we are doing some the handle, then we can have logs will be enabled, and SOP logs will be enabled, so that we'll have info, log info, errors details we can mention there. And handle the exceptions, we can have a try catch, through that we can handle the exception.
Okay. Suppose I have a database table,
Mm-hmm.
customer, which has customer ID, customer name,
Mm-hmm.
contact name, address, city, postal code, country.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to list the number of customers in each country, sorted high to low. So how can you do that? What will be the SQL query for that?
You have a customer table and that list of.
Yeah, which has customer ID as a primary key
Mm-hmm.
and customer name, contact name, address, city, postal code, country.
Mm-hmm.
These are another columns, and I want to list the number of customers in each country, sorted high to low.
Okay. List the customer each country, list the customer in each country sorted high to low. Yeah, so for that we will we'll do like a select uh a
Mm.
star from employee where employee where uh, like select a star from customer where customer ID group by country or where customer country name group by country and order by ascending order.
Okay. Okay, so with the same table, if I want to list the number of customers in each country, sorted high to low, and only include countries with more than uh, 5 customers.
More than 5 customers, then we can mention the limit and top also will be there, like a top 5 limit is 4 or limit 5 we can mention, or we can use a subquery also while we are fetching the detail. So the same way, like select top 5 cust- uh, customer from top 5 customer from customer table where the conditions group by and order by descending
Mm,
order will be mentioned.
okay.
That will be
Uh,
written by the multiple ways, group by limit and subqueries and all.
mm, mm, okay. Um, what are the advantages of Spring Boot?
Spring Boot have multiple advantages are there, like while we are creating a Spring Boot application, for that we'll have a Spring initializers are there, so in that directly we can create a dummy project, and that we have to add the business. And we have multiple servers are already integrated like Tomcat and Jetty. Apart from this, we'll have a actuator so that we can check the metrics of our applications. And also we have multiple annotations which is annotated automatically configure and all. So all the configurations and all will be called automatically, like in a at the rate Spring Boot application annotations are there. So through that multiple annotations will be called. And Spring Boot also will provide uh, like dev tools, so that dev tools will be automatically whatever the changes you are doing, that will be automatically build your application, so that easily we can develop our application as per the timeline based on these features and all.
Okay. Suppose I have a list of numbers
Mm-hmm.
like 5, 9, 8, 1
Mm-hmm.
integers, and I want to print these numbers, and I want to use lambda expression
Mm-hmm.
for that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, the lambda expressions also we can use here in the Java, like
So, what will be the lambda expression?
mhm. Yeah, so in that cases what will happen, like uh, if you want, then suppose number is there, so number lambda expression title, and then number dot get. So directly we can use number lambda expressions, and then by using SOP with the method reference we can print all those number. if you'll go
Okay.
मेरा कपड़ा होगा बाथरूम में, वो भी डाल देना। पैंट होगा।
Okay. What is uh, Java modifiers?
Modifiers will have a like a public, private, protected defaults are there.
Okay. And um, what is the difference like between these modifiers?
Yeah, so public we can access anywhere, anywhere in the class, package and all. Private will have access in the same classes, and protected will be access in the same classes and different package of the subclasses. And default will be used in the same package anywhere.
Okay. What is non-access modifiers?
Non-access modifiers like is private, we can say, like we can't access in other classes, other packages and all.
What is volatile?
Volatile is a keyword which is used while will call will use for the thread safe while we are creating any keyword as a volatile that will be behave as a thread safe.
What is transient and synchronized?
Transient is used for while we are doing for serializations and deserializations, and in that cases some of the attribute I don't want to change as it is if you want to send to the network. So that cases we can make it as a transient attribute, so that will be not deserialized or
Mm,
serialized. Synchronize is used for the thread while we can communicate or process the thread, multiple threads, so that will be synchronized at a time only one thread will be execute, others will be in waiting conditions, so that is called synchronized.
mhm. What is enum?
Enum is used for this like constant value, so that will be created with the uh, capital letters. So if you have a repetition type of,
How can you create it?
yeah, we can create first as a class as a enum, in that we'll have a mention all the constant value which is repeating, like we have a days, so that Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, these all are the days which is coming as a constant, so that we can create a enum, and in that we will mention all the days, that is from Monday to Sundays,
Hmm.
and we
Mm-hmm.
can call, or maybe
Okay.
month of this January to December and all.
Okay. Uh, what is the difference between instantiating string like string x is equal to double quotes apple, string x is equal to new uh, string double quotes apple?
Okay, so if you are mentioning a string as equal to double quote apple, then that will be stored in the constant pool. So a string is immutable, so we can't change the value, and we can whatever, if you are inserting may same way a string as equal to double quote apple, then they will check if the constant value has been created for this. If yes, data is there or not. If not, then we can add this data. If the same is there, then always it will be returned the same, no need to create
Hmm.
again. While using new keyword string as equal to new double quote apple, so that will be created two things. One is by using new keyword, that will be created in heap pool and constant pool. So constant pool will be there for the same if there, if not then they will create, and others will be the heap pool. That heap pool will have a temporary, once you initialize that will be there, else that will be removed through the garbage collector.
Okay. What is statelessness and what are its advantages and disadvantages
A state list in where? In which term?
in
Yeah,
RESTful?
RESTful will have a state list and a stateful features. Like while we are communicating with the multiple HTTP method, so we'll have get, post, put, deletes and all. So stateless means like if you are fetching any details from the database, and the same details will be coming as always. Like we have a get operations, or if you are doing some put operation, so that particular details will be modified. In that cases we'll have a same result will come, the same employee row num will come with the row id one with the employee details. So that is called a stateless. And a stateful, like if you are modifying based on the deletions and post, the that will be changes, like new employee information will be created or deleted, that will be a stateful.
Okay. Uh, what are the best practices for caching?
Caching, mostly we can use Redis caches while we use, so that mostly the best practice, whatever the Redis cache will be stored in a local. So whatever that on the client side, local means we can say as a client side we will store. On the server is not a good way to store. So if you have a repetition type of work on daily things, then you can configure the same as a client side.
Okay. What are idempotent operations?
Idempotent means like non-changeable, like idempotent, non-idempotent. So idempotent means like the same, like the if you are sending a request and then same type of response you are getting from the DB, there is no updations and all, always you are getting the same response. It's called non idempotent. Like I So we have a get method is there, and put method is a non-idempotent. And idempotent means like new request will be coming, like post method or delete, so that will be non-idempotent.
Okay. Uh, what is messaging in RESTful web service?
Messaging in RESTful web services, yeah, messaging in RESTful web services. Messaging is a way while we are converting or transforming of data from one to another. So we'll have a messaging in Kafka, REST, like Kafka or maybe RabbitMQ and all. So while we are like messaging, so that we'll configure the Kafka cluster, and other microservice will have a producer and consumer, so that a microservice will produce the data in cluster, and b microservice will consume the data. So that will be create a messaging way to asynchronous communication. So simultaneously all microservice will interact each others with the third party as a Kafka clusters. So that is
Mm,
messaging.
okay. All right, Amajit. I think I'm done from my side. And yeah, thanks for your time. And yeah, I'll give my feedback to the HR. Thank you so much.
Sure, sir. Yeah, thank you.